Well, hello and welcome back for another Friday Love and Learn. I always appreciate the opportunity to connect with educators from across Nebraska in this Friday Love and Learn opportunity. And we're getting ready for, well, a couple of things are happening right now. End of the school year for so many teachers across our state. We've got a holiday weekend just around the corner. And so really fun opportunity to just connect, to talk informally about how our weeks went, and to hopefully be energized as we enter into that Memorial Day weekend. And so really grateful to Melissa Pilakowski of Valentine High School for joining us today, along with Larianne Polk, administrator at ESU 7, and Dorann Avey at the Department of Education, on for the second time, actually. And so we're grateful that Dorann's joining us again. It's kind of fun. Typically, we have our ESU colleagues, and so we actually have representation pretty much at every level of our educational system here, right? And so it's fun to have all three of you and kind of think about it in that context as we reflect on how our week went. And so we'll probably just dive right in here. I do want to say, for those tuning in live, and I can see we already have some folks that are hanging out and tuning in, feel free to add comments. We love when you add comments. We can bring those on to the screen and make you a part of this experience, and would certainly welcome those comments throughout the show. So that being said, we're going to dive right in with the love. And so each week we share the things that we loved from the last 5 or 6 days. And so Melissa, start with you. What's something you loved this week?
This week, it was actually yesterday. I loved getting together with my colleagues last night. We had a potluck. Some brave souls, about 12 of them, went out and actually golfed in the frigid temperatures yesterday. They were cold, but then after they got in, just spending a few hours together at the end of the school year, and the camaraderie, and just not just being around colleagues, but they're my friends. And I'm so lucky that I work with people that I love.
Is that like a common thing that you all meet on? Is that like tradition on the last day to do those things?
Yeah, usually we try and do some type of a golf outing, and we make it fun. We do, silly games at each hole, whether it's singing or you take the person's worst shot and you do kind of a reverse scramble or something like that. But yeah, something in just that last week, once state track is over, state golf is over, and everyone's able to just be there, relax, unwind, and just be together.
So which course do you golf?
We go to Frederick's Peak, the new
beautiful
one. Yeah,
it's beautiful out there. Yeah.
Not the easiest one for not very good golfers like me. I see Otis is in the chats, and Otis would probably do far better on it than I do. I usually need to bring about 12 balls, and then I'll finish usually with 6.
It's good that you got that figured out. I'm curious. Yeah, Otis, he's pretty good golfer. He's recognizing too that we kind of represent a number of different levels of education here in Nebraska. And Otis did share his love of being able to coach some baseball this week, as well as having teachers at ESU 7 for training. And what's really great is in both Otis's story and in Melissa's is that we're in person and we're seeing people and socializing, and it's such a joy. I know this wasn't my intended love for this week, but it's been great to be able to kind of go out socially. And I went to Costco yesterday, and they're like, masks are optional, and I've been vaccinated for quite some time. So I was like, let's go. And it was small joys. It's little victories sometimes. And P.S. Otis, he doesnn't get paid. I don't get to golf as much, as I used to, but that's it sounds like he still is probably pretty good. So yeah, I don't know, Larianne, do you have any insights on Otis's golf game?
I know he's a pretty good golfer, and I know that he's starting to golf with his son, and it's a family thing. So he's pretty good. We just have recently moved on to a golf course, and not because I golf, but because it's pretty. So, one of my loves for this week will be that we're planning a golf tournament for our superintendents and administrators here in ESU 7, and we're going to have it on the 9th of June. So we're really excited to do that, and it's a scramble, and any team that gets me on it, you can guarantee I will not be the farthest hit. So, yeah, I'm really pretty terrible, but I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, very relaxing.
Well, that'd be a really good time. And I want to bring in here too that Mickey recognizing those small joys and little victories and how that just kind of adds up to a really great experience. Stephanie Bernthal also tuned in here from 17. Once tried to hit a golf ball into a lake and missed the lake.
Is that the new version of like hitting the broadside of a barn?
Potentially, or maybe it was intentional and then just so. I've seen people line up the wrong way because they know they'll hit it so far in the opposite direction. It actually plays to their strength sometimes. But well, that's great. A lot of golf games going on. Larianne, you said that was one of your loves from this week.
Yeah.
So do you have others?
Well, Otis grabbed one of mine too. It was really nice to see teachers in the building. You know, we have, as a mom at holiday times, I love it when my house is full. So here at the ESU, I love it when our buildings are full. So it was really nice to have people back in the buildings. That was really exciting. But the other thing I think that's important for us to mention is the legislature closed up its doors yesterday in sine die. So that's a great thing. That's a good love of mine too. I think we have an incredible, passionate, very advocating education chair. And she's real intentional about trying to get good education policy moved through. So I think that's a good love of mine too from this week.
Yeah, I know it's been a joy getting a chance to just hear about her heart for education. And I know on National Teacher Appreciation Day, we shared out a video across our socials that really was a nice message from her. And so, yeah, I'm sure from an administrator standpoint, too, it's nice to have that session concluded and kind of focus on other things for the summer. Question, though, real quick. What were the trainings that you had people in house for? What was going on?
We had Kagan training here yesterday, so some real great ways to teach teachers how to engage their students. So that was here yesterday.
Oh, fun. That's really a good time. And sorry, bringing in more comments here. Our golf theme is just running strong. Once at a PDO outing, someone got run over by a golf cart. Sounds like there's a story there. That's one that needs to be expanded a little bit. But
it wasn't me.
That's okay. I'll be excited to actually go to PDO in person sometime and maybe swing a golf club. It sounds like I need to get Otis on my team though if that happens.
Yeah, not me.
But Dorann, what was the love that you had this past week?
There were several small things. I think I'm starting to notice a lot more of the small things. I was able to open my windows up for the first time in a while. I really loved that. We're still working from home at NDE, and so it can get a little stuffy when you're in one spot for a really long time. So it's nice to get some fresh air. We had CCSSO this week, though, was occurring, and that's always a wonderful time to hear from what's happening in other states. And I think I really loved listening to the stories, but I think most of all, I really loved how wonderful we did as a state this last year. I have just heard wonderful things from my teacher friends and others who seem to appreciate that we were doing more face-to-face than so many other places, and the benefits to the kids and even to the staff of being around students versus doing everything virtual. So I love how much work we put into it, but at the same time, how successful we were. And I think we're going to benefit from that greatly. A tip for Otis from the golf side, though, don't use yellow balls in the spring, because if you hit out of bounds, there's a lot of dandelions. I lost 6 balls before hole 2, mostly to the dandelions. They all looked like my yellow ball. Try to stick with a different color.
I'd say as you're sharing that, I was like, this is from experience.
Yep.
And Mickey agreed, I believe, with your previous comment in the timing, but maybe she also has a yellow golf ball advice that she's going to reinforce there too. I want to bring this up, and it shows on my end Facebook user, but I'm going to guess this is probably Lisa Miles, as I've seen her post sometimes in here, and it comes across this way, that her love of this week, presuming that that's her, is reminiscing with colleagues and saying goodbye and retiring, as today is last day of work forever. So I would say congratulations. Thank you. It has been really great getting a chance to learn from you this year. And I know across our ESU network, we've had a chance. There have been folks that had a chance to know you for quite some time. So thanks for your service. And I hope that you have some great retirement and summer plans that are coming up in the not too distant future. Here's Mickey again. Schools have commented that the connectivity to NDE was very reassuring this year. Absolutely. Ebony, thanks for joining us. Good to hear from you. Also, friend, loving the golf theme. I had a couple of times. You know what, Ebony, though, if we could, I would want Ebony on my team. I think we would have a great time. And so it doesn't matter if it takes, if you end up spinning in circles, I would definitely be in that scramble with you, friend, if you're interested. Fishing now. We've got a lot of good ideas going on around here. So all of that love and sporting, we're all ready for summer, you can tell. I got a couple loves. I actually have more than I typically do. I usually am like, this one is really central, and I try to keep it brief. But for me, a couple things. One, I got a chance to host a conversation in Skilled Space on Tuesday night in my education nerdy things that I do past my 9 to 5. But it's a space that we're looking to maybe utilize for work as well with a new initiative that we're considering doing, which is sort of like a Stitch Fix version of professional development, where we'd be able to message out resources on different topics that teachers would select that they'd want a little bit of additional information on, and maybe not things that they would typically receive in kind of your back to school, professional development, whole group type of experiences. So we're really moving that forward, and Skilled Space is a thought partner with us on that. And so I invited all these people, and it was really fun on Tuesday night for an hour. We had people from Skilled Space, yes, but people that I taught with, so like Sarah Shanerock, who I know Melissa knows, and friends. Some ESU friends, and so like Brooke Cavan and Jen McNally and Craig Hicks were a part of that also. I had some national friends, so like Rochelle Poth was there, Tisha Richmond, and I know Melissa's familiar with some of those folks also. And then my kids jumped on in the last 10 minutes, and so they got a chance to interact. And it was just like a really great hour of just catching up with, those times when your friend circles all kind of like overlap, and you're like, this is so great. I just love that we're all here like talking with one another. So that was a love for sure. And I'll bring this to a close and say my second love was at Westside. The Teacher of the Year Award is so prestigious, and there is a family that generously donates a large sum of money for the Teacher of the Year every year. And my best friend in all of the state of Nebraska won Teacher of the Year this past week. And so his wife invited me to go with like the family, because they did a different ceremony, and it was incredibly small. But I was so excited for him, and just like filled my bucket that his family was able to they're going to go on some trips, I'm sure, and do some cool things with some of those, resources. And he is so deserving. It was just a great Wednesday, to learn about all that stuff. So yeah, good vibes this week. Good vibes. Corey, I want to kind of go back to our chat here.
I think he means run over.
Yeah.
He was a witness, but apparently he's not going to testify much more than that.
He must not have been the one that got run over. That's what I'm guessing. Okay, it wasn't driving. Got it. Got it. Oh, hey, what's up, Allison? Yes, right. I so agree. We're really geeked about this. If you want to talk more about it, we'd love to have your input and some feedback from you, because we're moving that forward and trying to think about different topics. It's going to be super cool. Stephanie Bernthal is helping with some of the design elements of it, which will be really fun. Ebony, we're sharing the same cart. We will share the same cart. I'm down for that. Absolutely. So that said, a lot of fun in that first round of loves. And so now it's time for us to talk about the things that we learned this week. And sometimes this is really hard to parcel out, right? That we love learning. So Melissa, in your last week of school for the year, what's something that you learned?
One thing I learned this week that I'm really excited about was, it's not an app, but it's a new way to get my news every morning. And maybe you guys have heard of it, but it's called the Donut. And it kind of picks out all of the top news stories of the day, sends it to your email, but it's very unbiased, that it just gives you, hey, here's what's going on, and then here's the links to the left side, here's the links to the right side. And they do a lot of links also just of the primary sources. So it's not just the media. And I watched a webinar from them this week, and I loved the goals of these young people. I think probably 20s or so is this team. But, they said, we just want people to have conversations where they can disagree, but also have news that isn't going to make them worried or depressed about the future. And they always add a bit of good news, fun news story to each email as well. And I just love it. And I think I'm going to use lots of it just in my own ELA classes next year and be able to, have side-by-side articles. And it's also very, I guess, user-friendly for kids. There's lots of emojis and colors, and it's very inviting for students to read. But I mean, it's inviting for this 40-something-year-old to read too. So that's like my kind of new thing that I learned about this week was the donut, which is, donuts are delicious too, but also newsworthy.
I think Corey Dahl agrees with his donuts. It's pretty good one there, Corey. And hi, Melissa. That's fun because we were doing this artificial intelligence explorations cohort group over the course of the spring, and they were talking about that in there. That they're particularly for social studies, it's getting to a place where they can design the algorithms to pull from all different perspectives, like you're talking about. I mean, essentially exactly the thing that you're saying, and that what that can do to transform that social studies teachers' experience and the content they're able to curate, and not have to spend forever reading all these things on a daily basis. It's just going to be kind of housed there, and then the students can be the ones drivers exploring that, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fabulous. And they are partnering with Parlay, if for any teachers out there who use the Parlay ideas, so that, there will be Parlay roundtables, I think 3 times a week with donut information. So I was really excited, and just so good for digital literacy.
Absolutely. And I felt like for the longest time, this is going to be a total side personal rant, but we keep talking about how the algorithms put us in silos where we don't get information other than what we want to hear. Could you not then set up the algorithm to go, hey, this person's totally in this silo, and just like sprinkle in like a couple from the other with the algorithm? I just don't understand. And I get like, we're just going to like tailored to everyone's respective silos, but it'd be cool if they mandated that, where it's like, yeah, but we're at least going to drop in like a couple of these others to recognize that there are other stories going on out there, different slants, even if you don't agree with them. But anyway, that's another thought for another time. Or this time, I guess I just went there. But Otis sharing his learned from the Catlin Tucker training, which was awesome on Monday. That was really terrific. Assessments should be done with and for students, not to them. That is very much true. And we've learned from Catlin throughout this year. And so that's been really terrific. That was her 3rd visit. And we have 2 podcasts actually back in the Good Life EDU archive, if you're looking to catch up on some of those with her. The second one was an hour-long just Q&A where we got a chance as a TLT affiliate to just ask our questions. And that was a cool conversation. So
anything that Catlin... Is there anything that she does that isn't just absolutely brilliant? And like anything I ever read from her, I'm just, oh my gosh, love it. She's fantastic.
Well, she and Katie Martin just did a book on UDL and blended learning that I haven't really thumbed through at all, but I think will be interesting because I think the same with Katie too. I think she has a lot of really great stuff. Okay, so back to It Learns. Larianne, what's something you learned this week? Kagan training.
Kagan was here. I am kind of a bit of a historian for ESUs in Nebraska, and folks know that, so I get some things provided to me to read once in a while. So I have a board member, Don Ellison. In July, he will be on ESU 7's board for 50 years. in July.
Whoa.
Yeah. 50 years. He's been on our board longer than I've been a person. So he is an incredible guy, and he provides me with a lot of history. So I'm going to show a picture. So this is a book that's called And the Cow Ate the School. Yeah. So this book was written in 1967 by the NSEA. It was a publication that they wrote after 100 years of being an organization. And it's a bit of a historical documentary of how schools evolved from the time when they were created. And our first school in Nebraska was in 1820. I learned that. And we had 1,300 kids in 1859, and in just a few years to 1870, there were almost 13,000 kids in school in Nebraska. That was pretty cool. Teachers got paid $1 a day back in the day. They only taught for maybe 12 weeks or so. You had to work around the farming, the harvest, had to make sure everything was taken care of. But one thing that I learned the most, we had just a weird year, and I'm sure that has come up in a lot of your Love and Learns during this past year. But I've learned that through this book, there's a lot of things. Teachers are resilient in Nebraska. They have been dealing with challenges and floods, grasshoppers, dust, fires, incredible cold that when kids were walking to school was just as dangerous as the pandemic is for us now. So I thought that this provided a perspective to me that this is something that Nebraska has done. We've been able to weather through all kinds of difficult things, and our teachers are pretty incredible.
Such beautiful commentary there. I just love all of that. Thank you for sharing that and for framing that for us. Can I ask you, do you know the location of said first school?
I will look, and I'll be able to get back to you here just a second.
Yeah, do
picture of the school. I thought that was kind of fun.
Oh,
Is that a Saudi?
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, so
cool.
It was a cool book, and it was published by the NSCA. So very, very neat.
That's fun. So Dorann, what was your learn from this week?
Well, so at my CCSSO meeting, I'm in the IMAC group, which is the information management. And so I always learn a lot. A lot of it is way over my head as well. But this week we had a lot of conversations around privacy and technology, and some of the assistance that'll be coming out to schools around that this year. We had, with COVID and everything, a lot of people scrambling and not always checking to make sure student data was private and kept private, and that they were kind of just flustered to get what they needed. And so that's understandable. But PTAC was on and talked a lot about the need to improve some assistance in that area. So there'll be a lot of things coming out at the federal level. Sarah Tretton is back, yay, at the federal level. Biden administration is kind of rehiring and refilling the Office of Ed Tech out in Washington, D.C. So it was really nice to see them and see their plans for OER. I mean, there were so many things that I learned from a national level as the Biden administration comes in and starts to replenish some of those positions that had been phased out during the previous administration. So I think we're going to see lots of things coming, more supports. The only sad thing I learned was the egregious attacks on school systems and the increased numbers of schools that were attacked over this last year. That's always a little bit sad, but again, working to try to help districts secure those things and make sure that the environments are safe, whether kids are at school or at home. So lots to be coming in that place.
Yeah, I've noticed those conversations on an uptick. Not that they weren't there before, but just enhancing and extending those efforts in the face of, like you're saying, that sort of nationally, there's been a lot more examples of that. And so hopefully everybody takes the necessary steps to keep all of our data and information safe in our schools, for sure. So that had to be interesting learning a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it was great. It was, I think we're going to see some really positive things and get the assistance that districts kind of need to help them understand the laws a little bit better, but also just secure their own systems a little bit better.
Terrific. Before I share my learn, actually, I might learn something here. Larianne, does it share in the book?
Yes, it is. I did find it. And if we would have thought a little bit about Nebraska history, we should have thought of this anyway. Fort Atkinson.
Okay.
Darn it.
No, you're fine. That'd have been really fun to be like, I would have had no idea. But say again, it was at
Fort Atkinson on the west bank of the Missouri River.
Okay.
So it was, they gave the assignment of teacher to Private George Stevenson of Battalion Company C, and he was appointed to be the teacher, and it was called a regimental school. So he was,
wow.
And a lot of the first teachers that I found in this reference anyway were men.
Huh. That, I guess I'd never considered what it must be like to be the first teacher in a state. Like that had to have been just an interesting, I don't know, experience to start a school like that, and a one-room schoolhouse, which Mickey apparently attended too in rural Wheeler County. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So, a lot of great history today, to Ebony's point from in there. And I'm going to do the best. I think I'm going to probably botch this. I'm going to do the best to share this learn from this week. I'm still wrap my mind around it. I've been riding. I have like an indoor trainer, and so I ride a bike in the morning. Sometimes it's really fun. I started reading during that, which means I'm maybe not working out hard enough, but don't judge me, please. And someone shared a book with me called The Illusion of Money, which is to just talk to that money isn't what buys happiness, and what, maybe your efforts should be focused on instead. And so I was reading through that, and it was talking about expanding your horizons and trying new things and having new experiences. And I've always been someone who's believed that innovation comes from situations where, hey, I've done something before, and I learned something there that I can apply in this context where we don't normally apply it. And when those things crash together, I think that's where you get something new. And it was interesting the way that this book framed it was to say, no, like expand your horizons, always be trying to like add to those things, because what that does, and this was the way that the book explained it, is it almost adds like another filter that you'll like see things that you would not see otherwise, that are always present, but opportunities you can't step into because you don't have the perspective to do that. And I don't know if you've ever seen The National Treasure, the second movie, where they have like the lenses and like the yellow goes down or the green or the blue. And I kind of use that as my like grounding visual for thinking about that, and how cool it is that with everything that we learn, and so this is maybe I learned about learning, everything that we learn, we sort of add another layer that will just only open opportunities for us to step into meaningful ways, the opportunities that are there before us all the time. So that was my learn, and I've really been chewing on that thought this week. Did it make sense with that? Did that make some sense?
Yeah, I love the national treasure metaphor. That's awesome.
Everybody can identify with that.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. I think that's the one that ends up in the Black Hills too, right? So
yes.
Yeah, check that out for a little, not Nebraska, but local. We're on the history note again. Oh my gosh, we're just really bringing this all together. So that said, I want to say thank you to Melissa, to Larianne, to Dorann, and to everybody who's tuned in and taken part in this. I love that the chat has been active and hearing from everybody across the state. I want to wish everybody a tremendous holiday weekend. We know we've all deserve a little downtime after the year we've just navigated. So stay safe, have fun. Enjoy being around people in probably larger groups than we're accustomed to. And we'll see you next Friday for another Love and Learn.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks
so
everyone.
much for joining.